speaking of Greeks and Greek gods, and then switching to Romans, I heard on another podcast that the reason why they have tiny dicks in those all those Greek statues is because they thought big dicks were like gross. Did you ever heard of this? Like,
Well, I didn't hear about this. It's funny you bring this up. I didn't hear about this in another podcast, but I have a friend in Antigua who's a history buff, and he was saying that it was it was to like keep the population from being overly randy. It
oh,
was like it was vulgar to have this display of massive dongs on the
oh,
Roman statues,
it's a
the Greek
distraction
statues.
from like the art of the work.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Apparently, wow. Yeah,
that makes
something
sense
like that. What did
because
you hear in the podcast?
well, I just heard that the reason why they didn't have the big dicks, they didn't carve them in, is because they thought it was gross. They thought it was vulgar, which
Yeah, similar.
probably similar shit. It makes sense, I guess, because if you make the dicks big, everyone's just going to focus on that. Like everyone's going to be looking at the dicks and not like the rest of like the way the body is sculpted and like the reason why it's in this particular posture and the expression of the face and the body language and what it's saying and all that and the artistry of whatever. You probably
Do you
won't be able
think
to
if you think
think.
if these things are like a masterfully crafted King Kong dick on them,
Yeah.
that people would just they wouldn't see the rest of the craftsmanship. They wouldn't see the
I don't
detail.
unless you make the dick itself so attractive and like that's the work of art,
But that's
then
what I mean. Like, you think they would just take over the whole thing if they had like etched veins? You could see the
details.
vascularity on the. We'd be looking at, I don't know, Zeus or something, and just being like, I wish you could get his master schlong out of my face. Like,
Yeah, man. I totally think that. I think people would just be like looking at the beauty. Initially, they'll be like, dicks will just get all the attention, and then people will just be looking at it. And then, of course, you're gonna have those people who like talk about the beauty of the veins in it, and like the helmet and the whatever's in it. But then, really, it'll just be more of a comparison thing, and then it'll be like a joke thing. People would start making jokes about how either their dick is that big or it's not that big, whatever it
I
is.
could be Zeus.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Look at my
yeah.
Zeus dick. Yeah.
Do you think
I
it
think
had like a pot of positive influence on like it encouraged sensuality?
mm,
Like it's like the version of softcore porn. Their version of softcore porn. It didn't pollute your brain too much, but it like just seeing a naked body turned you on. Like
yeah.
it's just like the statues.
It's titillating, just the right amount of like titillating content. Yeah, would that be interesting? Yeah, like how it's like not the focus of like how porn today is just like big dicks going into
Big
tiny
dick
pussy.
domination.
Ugh. It's more like the whole of it. We're honoring the sexuality and sensuality of human beings having relations. It's more like uh,
They're also like mythical figures. They
oh
had their
yeah.
like they had their role play on point back then. It's like
Oh
if you're looking at sculptures to save your wank bank for later, it's
yeah.
like you couldn't help but think like, oh my God, maybe Zeus will put a half god in my womb.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I guess they also didn't think of like maybe we fetishize big dicks because we're like, oh, big everything, Big Mac, big trucks, big
Big
dicks,
big bucks, big tits.
big bucks, big dicks, everything big, everything extra large. Uh, maybe they
Cinema
did.
screen in your house.
What screen in your house?
Cinema screen? You want like
What is that?
a home cinema?
Oh, cinema screen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything big, big dicks, big trucks, big cinema screens in your house. Uh, so everything is like fetishized. Big is like better. That's the
Yeah.
fetish. Maybe back in the day when they were making these sculptures, they were like, oh, big doesn't. No one had any money. Very few people had any money to do anything. Everyone was poor. So, uh, I guess you focused on like other important things in life. Maybe you focused on like beauty. You were gonna die at 40, right?
Mm.
So maybe you just focused on the beauty of sculptures. Whoa. Yeah.
But maybe like because a lot of these sculptures impressive human specimens, they're like
Yeah.
ripped and stuff. So I'm wondering if that was not another thing. Like, there was no gyms back then. So maybe like a six pack on a statue was worth what like a 10-inch
But
cock on a porn star is worth now.
but wouldn't most people be in kind of in good shape because you're eating like 1 or 2 times a day?
Mm.
You're not eating a lot for sure.
Would you
And
be bulky? Would you have that muscle mass?
not really because that also costs money to eat. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these were like godlike figures. The
Right,
average
they're
Joe
supposed to
didn't
be.
look like that.
Yeah, aspirational, like fuck. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I wonder if maybe like people want to be a warrior more because of that reason. It's like the warriors probably were jacked, like they're picking up
Yeah.
heavy swords and shields and running around with armor all the time.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How come they were never like fat sculptures? Like, were they like fat sculptures? I don't remember seeing those in a museum.
No, yeah, I feel like the first ones were like Buddha, the fat
Yeah, the
Buddha
fat
guy.
Buddha. Yeah, that's the only ones that I literally only think of that guy. But and even the women, they didn't have like giant tits. They kind of had like nice tits, and then like a nice
Mm.
like, she's not working out every day, but she's not fat either. She's kind of there. She's kind of that Goldilocks of like, I don't go to the gym. I don't have a boy butt. I have hips. You know?
So their tits weren't vulgar either.
Yeah, vulgar. Yeah, I suppose.
They
Yeah, they
weren't they
weren't.
weren't
Yeah, they were like
huge and in your
goddesses. They had beautiful
face and
hair. You know. And even the faces were like not like chiseled. Like they were kind of like round and kind of. I guess
maybe
is
maybe
Rubenesque the word? I don't know.
yeah. People were it was the subtlety.
Yeah.
I wonder if big dicks weren't as valued back then,
Maybe they
like
didn't
just
just meet any black
generally.
people. Maybe maybe that was the thing. They hadn't invaded Africa yet, so they didn't
Y-
have any
Yeah, but
black
there's
people.
white populations known for big dicks. Like, talk about the
That's true.
Romans, the
Oh yeah,
Italians are known
Italian
for having
people.
big
Yeah,
dicks.
yeah. And also Rome had a lot of Rome was supposedly like a multicultural city because they did colonize. They did
Yeah,
conquer a lot of people, and they did
must
like
have some
have
brown people there,
multicultural.
maybe
Yeah, there's
a couple
definitely
black
North
people.
Africans. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe it was the vulgarity. Maybe it was a distraction. They figured some shit out. They knew that people only think of the big dicks if they had the big dicks.
But
You know.
I was thinking maybe like you're saying, a lot of people didn't have money, a lot of people didn't have like common like household luxuries and stuff like this, a certain level of comfort in their life. Maybe with less privileges, you don't necessarily want to take more pain in your love life. Maybe maybe the women
It's
were
like
like,
one
oh
additional
my
thing you got to
God,
worry
plus
about.
that thing, yeah, plus I gotta tolerate this dick
Like
hitting
I
my
can't
kid.
eat. I have no food. I have a shit job. I'm gonna die tomorrow, and I got to worry about having a tiny dick. Fuck.
Do you
God
think
damn it.
do you
Yeah.
think the revering of big dicks today is kind of a sign of our progress then? Like if your life's so good, like if your
Oh,
life's so comfortable in other places, then a little
yeah.
spice would be like, oh, I can afford a little pain in my fucking love life. At
Uh,
least it's not boring like the rest of
yeah.
my easy life.
Yeah. 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 Hey.